This is Fox Astrology and Tarot here with a Choose Your Message reading. This Choose Your Message reading is focused on the question, what guides do I have around me right now? Now that's, generally speaking, it could be, a guide that you have consistently that kind of has stuck around with you for a while. Could be a guide that is just coming in due to a certain situation, certain scenario that either you're coming into or on your way out of, that you still require some guidance, some advice in order to support you and on your journey, on your path. One of the best ways to figure out the differences between those guides is they actually discuss this in the Medicine Cards book, talking about the process for meditating and really discovering the guides that you have by doing a certain spread, by identifying the guides that you have around you that are here to stay, maybe for a long time in your life. So it's really, really interesting. But I wanted to do this Choose Your Message topic because a lot of people are looking for messages from their guides. A lot of people are looking for specific guidance. Some people just want to know a little bit more about themselves, maybe about the energy that's around them, maybe the path that they're on, and what those guides might be able to do to support them. So to start off, I've pulled just 4 cards here, just as a symbol here, a representation. There's going to be 4 options, so you can choose 1, 2, 3, or 4. If you've chosen 1, 2, 3, or 4, I've placed timestamps down below in like a little bar here. So once you see which card you've chosen, go ahead and skip ahead to that timestamp. And at that point, I'll be pulling the cards for you and showing you what your guides are for this moment. So to start off, there we go. I want to make sure they're all upright. For number 1, I'm starting off here. If you chose number 1, I'm going to pull just 2 cards here. I don't want to get into crazy detail. You have 7 guides right now. Let's just go ahead and do some basic messages from each of the guides that are with you right now. And if you've got any confirmation, if this is a guide that you work with often, feel free to comment below, share back with me your experience with this guide. I'd love to know your personal experience with the guides that you work with. Sometimes your individual experience can vary. Overall, though, they tend to be roughly the same type of energy, the same type of counsel, advice, support, all of that. So let's see. If you chose number 1, here are 2 of the guides currently around you. This is just general. Oh, that's nice. All right, so the dragonfly. So if you chose number 1, I feel like the energy surrounding these guides is predominantly nature spirits, elemental spirits, the elements in general, earth, air, fire, water. The turtle represents obviously water and earth, and the dragonfly comes generally associated obviously with dragons, but in general with these nature spirits. So maybe your connection is really strong with the elements, really strong with nature, strongly connected to this earth, strongly connected to maybe animals, or in general, like I said, nature spirits. So for the dragonfly to come to you right now suggests maybe one of 2 things. Either it is here to remind you that to allow other people to suggest ideas for you, to suggest paths for you, is basically like somebody asking you to prove your power, to prove that you're strong enough, to prove that you have some capacity, some strength, some ability. And when you rise up to that challenge and end up taking on someone else's goals, someone else's request for proof, that you're good enough, that you can do what they ask you to do, then you lose that power. And there's a story in the book about the dragonfly originally being a dragon and shape-shifted into a dragonfly by the request of Coyote the trickster. So in this situation, this guide is here to remind you to not to not surrender your power by allowing others to dictate what you do. Keep in mind the vision that you have. It's a wonderful card for people who are on a journey trying to manifest things, on a journey trying to make a big change. This guide really wants to bring in significant change into your life. And the turtle here is really a great message about your connection with nature, your basic structure as a human here on earth, your physical being, your physical connection with nature. This guide wants to remind you, I think both of these guides really want to remind you of your connection with this earth, with this planet, with the physical life. And so I would say in general, positive messages from this are, to keep going on your journey, to not surrender your power, to keep in mind your own personal desires, your own personal goals, and to not stoop to somebody else's plans or goals, to keep doing yours. Your dreams are worth it. Your dreams are going to be what sustains you. Your dreams are going to be what have the right kind of impact. They're going to have that unique perspective that only you have. And for the turtle, I feel like the connection here is really about your nurturing ability, your ability to make choices that really help benefit this system of nature, this planet that we live on. Mother Earth in general is strongly represented by the turtle in the medicine card book. So maybe the message here for you right now is, getting out into nature would be great, really great way of, kind of recharging or reconnecting if you're feeling out of sorts or feeling disconnected. And, one last thing, let me see. Yes, so another thing too, I feel like maybe the message for you is you're in this process of developing an idea, developing a project, and the turtle reminds you to kind of insulate yourself from other people. Recognize obviously that your dreams, you're going to need to nurture them kind of like buried in the sand, allowing them to be, warmed up by the sun and have their own kind of little protective space to develop and eventually hatch. So maybe you're in this process of developing a dream, developing an idea, and maybe other people are maybe criticizing you or something. Now's a good time with these guys around you to remember to provide them a safe space to grow, nurture them, develop them, and allow them that chance to get to a point where they're strong enough to break out of that shell so that you can begin to kind of walk them along the path to adulthood, So hopefully that helps you with your guides. Hopefully these guides are going to be pushing you and supporting you and guiding you and providing you with good advice. I look forward to hearing your feedback as to if you resonated with this, if you have the turtle or the dragonfly as your guide on a regular basis. I'd love to hear your thoughts about these guides and your personal experience. Feel free to comment below and make sure to keep an eye out for my next Choose Your Message reading, as well as my astrology transit readings and my weekly general tarot readings too. So have a good week. All right, so if you chose number 2, here's your message from your guides here. And I like to think too, guides can also be like this archetype, this concept, this idea of an energy surrounding an animal that, based on how they act, based on their instincts, based on their relationships with other animals, based on if they're predatory or prey, taking a look at their influence, at their behavior, and taking that on into your life, studying them. And that's what I like to do. When I hear about maybe there's a certain guide around me, I like to think that I'm going to study them, I'm going to get to know them, and I'm going to get to take that energy into my life, which can also initiate like significant change in your life when you take on an animal's energy and practice the way that they practice. Okay, so if you got the second card, the bear is really this medicine of introspection, of self-knowing, of knowing more about yourself in order to achieve happiness. So if you feel like this guide has come to you recently, or if you've been experiencing this for a long time, the bear may have come to you to help you to understand yourself more through, it could be through more unconscious ways, more beyond the physical body kind of ways. And this is done through the dream world, or in the book they call it the dream lodge. And in the dream lodge, you're not as limited by your physical body, by your physical senses. You can get messages from, people who are no longer with us physically, and you can also you can communicate and interact with this non-physical world, and that really helps you to explore both your ancestry, where you come from, the experiences you had when you were younger, but also to explore potentially the connections that you'll have in the future as well. So this guide comes to you, I feel like the message is really to consider knowing more about yourself in order to make yourself happier, so that you can fulfill more of your desires. The better you know yourself, the better you can make yourself happy. So this is obviously a great message to have around you all the time, to allow yourself to experience more joy and fulfillment. And for the weasel, I feel like the message here, this guide has come into your life in order to provide discernment, in order to provide wisdom and clarity in the life that you're living right now. This may be a situation or an event or even a person that's currently kind of making your life feel kind of hazy or confusing or frustrating. The weasel brings in a sense of clarity, of discernment, of knowing how to see the truth of a person or a situation and really pierce through what is on the surface. I would say this card for you, this guide for you, is also about knowing how you might even lie to yourself or deceive yourself about another person. Because I feel like when we see red flags, when we see a person and we go, oh, you know what, they did this thing, but it's okay, like, I'll forgive them and it's fine. And we maybe take on more of those situations as time goes on, and we stop noticing how this person is really behaving. We can deceive ourselves into thinking that this person is innocent or that this person has our best intentions in mind. The weasel's coming into your life right now to help you kind of, clear the fog and really be able to make decisions more wisely as you know the full part of it, the full situation, basically. So I feel like here, these guides have come into your life to help you really understand yourself and increase your self-knowledge, and also to increase your awareness of your surroundings. Maybe I would say that these guides are here to help you socially as you interact with others, but also to help you understand yourself more, which can help both situations. So if you like this, go ahead and let me know below, comment. I'd love to hear back if you have these guides already that you've had around yourself for a while. I'd love to hear what your personal experience is with these guides. Provide some feedback, fill in some gaps. If your experience was the same, I'd love to also hear that too. So keep an eye out also for my other Choose Your Message readings, my astrology and tarot weekly and monthly transit readings, as well as my general tarot readings as well. So have a good week. And if you were number 3, here is the reading for you, showing you just some of the guides that are around you right now. This isn't just like the only guides or anything. This is just maybe some guides that are stopping by to help you with an upcoming transition, or maybe a transition that you've already started. You may resonate with that, noticing, you know what, I've been experiencing this and that lately. These guides must have been really speaking in my ear, pulling some strings. Ooh, all right. So we got the lizard and the snake. Very interesting. I'm gonna check. Okay, so if you chose number 3, I feel like the message here is really about, working with identity, working with who you are right now, maybe some visions you have for yourself, who you want to be, where you want to go. These guides here, first of all, the lizard as a guide, I feel like is really asking you to consider logging your dreams, writing down, first thing when you wake up. Like, don't even wait more than like a minute to write down whatever happened in your dream and really take a look at it. The lizard really wants you to consider what kind of visions you're having for yourself. And this can take place in the dream time. This can take place when you're visualizing kind of in an unconscious way, processing things that happened to you, and also potentially connecting with other types of experiences. So the lizard in general, I think, is asking you, coming into your life, to create a shift in your vision or your visual sense of what you see happening for yourself. A lot of times we kind of forget that these 5 senses that we have actually affect how we talk and how we think about our experience. And what you see literally with your eyes can affect basically how you perceive what's happening to you. A lot of times our brain is actually taking, little tiny bits of information and filling in the rest. Almost 90% of what you think you're seeing visually is actually filled in. Like a computer might render a scene for you based on a few construct type of details, like a color and a shape. And so it's important to remember that sometimes when we see scary things, when we have nightmares, when we have dreams that scare us, to look into those dreams and consider, where are we getting those dreams from? How are we feeling about those dreams when we interact in the dream world with a nightmare? What is really causing the tension? What's really causing the fear? What's causing the pain? And considering how that might be coming from, our thoughts and our vision for ourselves in our waking life. Considering if you have dreams where you're running from something, or dreams where you're being attacked by something, how does that really affect, you when you wake up? Think about why did I feel that way? Is there anything that I'm running from? Is there anybody who I'm feeling attacked? Or am I even attacking myself? And then the snake here, I feel like this is a great message for identity. Maybe you're feeling a shadow And these guides have really come into your life to help you wake up to this acceptance, this balance in your life, to bring in a new phase where you can really make a change and really make a shift. The snake sheds its skin, and so this is an example of a situation where you might feel a little stretched too thin. Maybe you feel like you're not big enough. Maybe you're feeling afraid of taking a big step in a new direction. The snake is asking you, how can you shed the skin, the identity, the things that you believe about yourself in order to grow, in order to have a new life and to have a different skin, a skin that fits the situation that you're going into, the new life that you're going into. And that can be as simple as taking a look at, what kind of person would do well in this situation I'm going to be going into, and how can I really kind of channel who that is, how they act, how they think, the habits that they have, and to really work yourself into that situation with a new skin. So hopefully this helps you. If you have experience with these guides, I'd love to hear some anecdotes, some messages that you feel the snake or the lizard has, and see if we can kind of all share our experiences here. You can comment below. You can also email me if you just have some feedback. My email is below too. So keep an eye out for my next Choose Your Message reading, as well as my other astrology and tarot transit readings, and my general readings as well. So I look forward to hearing from you. Peace. And if you chose number 4, here is your reading for the guides that are around you right now. Now, these aren't the only guides that are around you, I'm sure of that. They can come and go based on the situation. There are some that stick with you for life because of the path that you chose, maybe because of the experiences that you went through when you were younger. You needed some protection, or you needed some grounding. So these are just 2 of the guides that are currently around you. And as you think about it, consider, like, if you're really connecting with these guides, if you're really connecting because of a situation that you're in right now, consider looking them up, maybe reading about them, what they're like, maybe watch videos of them, maybe try and go to a zoo or some place where you feel like you can find them in their own natural habitat is preferable, because the zoo, obviously, they're not in their natural habitat. So, but try and observe them and see how they respond to their situation, how they live. All right, fortunately, I think spiders and raccoons, we could probably find those in real life pretty easy. Okay. Interesting. So I feel like the spider as a guide is really trying to push you and to help you in this situation that you're in currently, or maybe something you're coming out of or something you're going into. It's talking about really this process. Like spiders weave webs. They have one string, and so it's not like they just, like poop out a web and then they just put it in place. They have one string, and they just slowly, intricately, one rung at a time, weave that web until it's, all put together. And so it's a process. And so that's why I feel like this this verb of weaving is a very interesting choice of words here. And so this can be sometimes this metaphor, sometimes we lose track of this day-to-day behavior, the consistent behavior that we have with our plans, with the things that we're trying to make happen, with our awareness as well. And when a spider weaves its web, it sits in the middle usually, or it has like a strategy. And sometimes because it's on one end of the web, or because it's sitting in the middle, it might not be as aware of the things that happen on the outskirts. So maybe this guide is coming into your life to help you bring more awareness to the outskirts of your experience. Maybe things that you don't typically pay attention to, maybe things that you think aren't as important because of your current strategy. So the spider wants you to consider what kind of consistent behaviors and actions, as you're weaving your life, as you're even visualizing the plan that you have for your life, putting plans together. That's why I think the weaving verb is such an important word to look at. Because when you're planning things, you're really, one at a time, putting steps together, putting a structure together for your life. And so it also looks at our communication, the words that we choose, the dreams that we choose, the things that we put together and kind of assemble. So I feel like this guide for you is also about like how sometimes you can get caught in your own web, that the consistent behaviors and actions that you think are happening in your plan. As you make a plan, you say, I'm going to do this every day, and I'm going to do this every day, and I'm going to do this every day. And you make a plan, and then somehow it manages to slip away. Maybe you have an accident, maybe something pops up, and all of a sudden your behavior is different, and you have to keep guiding yourself back. That's a sign that maybe there's a behavior at hand that you're doing unconsciously. You're not even noticing that you're doing it, and you're weaving yourself into a corner somewhere. You're stuck in your own web of behavior, your plans, maybe even your words that you're using to put your dream into action. So pay attention to that. This guide really wants to help you be more aware of the web that you're weaving. And for the raccoon, I feel like this is all about teamwork. This is all about collaboration and support, being kind of very brotherly or family oriented. I feel like this guide for you is also about kind of being a leader in a way, where you might take on different roles just according to the group's needs. And let me see here. Yeah. Totally. Okay, so generosity is also a key here. When you look at a raccoon, like if they're all working in a team together, one will be a lookout, one will be, finding food, and another one will be eating it. So they all take on different roles as needed. And there's a certain generosity to that. There's a certain sacrifice that takes place when you take on a role, knowing that someone needs to do it, and knowing that, if maybe you'll take turns, or maybe you just feel like nobody else is going to do it, so you'll just have to take it on. So this guide is coming to you maybe to help push you into a situation where you can support somebody, push you into a situation, guide you into situations where you can protect somebody else, where you can provide a sense of security, where you can be the lookout for them as they, find resources, as they get themselves set up somewhere. So this guide is really going to help you find some people to help, find some people to support, find some people to be generous with your attention and with your time too. So hopefully this helps you on this current little journey that you're on. If you have this guide consistently, if you've had this guide before and you have some personal experience you'd like to share about this guide, I'd love to hear. You can comment below. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you want to hit the bell too to get notified as soon as I upload my videos. I have more Choose Your Message readings coming. I have a whole month for August coming up on transits and just general astrology and tarot readings for each zodiac sign coming up soon. About a week and a half I'll be finishing the editing. I've been working a lot. Sorry I've been missing my usual routine, but I've been making a change to a whole different kind of platform setup. So look forward to having your feedback. I look forward to hearing from you guys. And as always, have a good week. Peace.